In this video, let's plot all the data on the graph. So I wrote here the price functions of the demand side and the supply side before the government intervention and after. So let's start doing what happens before, and then we'll do what happens after, and we'll see how this works out on these graphs with the demand and supply. For instance, the price from the demand side is 100 minus 1 over 2 quantity demanded. So the price intercept is going to be 100. The slope is going to be a half. So it's going to be relatively flat, something like that. The quantity intercept is going to be 200 quantity at most sold on the market. And the supply starts with an intercept of minus 80. So we'll have here, for instance, minus 80 and a positive slope of 1. So it's going to go up like that. This is going to be the supply. So let's just write here the demand and the supply before the interventions. And by the way, the way we could interpret the minus 80 from the supply side, because it's a negative price number. So recall that supply shows the willingness to sell, how much producers are willing to put their products on the market for. Now, what the minus 8 is showing us is that the producers are willing to take losses in the beginning because of their fixed investments. Because of the fixed investments in the facilities to harvest the bananas, they're willing to take some losses in the short run in the market so that later on they become profitable. They start selling it at positive prices and make money. That's more or less the intuition here. Now, what's going to be the equilibrium price and quantity? Well, we know from the previous video that we solved 40 euros equilibrium price. So this is going to be 40 euros over here. And the equilibrium quantity would be 120 units, 120 units. That's before the government intervention. Now it's a different color. Let's do it after the government intervention. So what did we say? The supply will decrease because their willingness to sell is lower now since they are helped by the government. And it's becoming mainly minus 100 plus the quantity supplied. So the intercept is going lower a bit. Let's say over here, minus 100. But the slope is still positive 1. So it should be a parallel line over here. So something like that. This is going to be the supply after the subsidy. With the same logic, let's do the demand after the tax. We saw that the demand also decreases by 5 euros. The willingness to pay, decreases by 5 euros because of this tax. So the intercept, it means it's going to be here 95, and the slope is still a half. So it's going to be a parallel line to the previous demand curve. It's going to look something like, once again, it's going to look something like this. So this is going to be the demand now. And what is going to be the equilibrium, the new equilibrium over here? Let's do it with a different color so we can see it better. Over here, this dot, remember, the green lines, the new supply and the new demand, they have to intersect. So the new equilibrium we saw from the previous video, 30 euros price, that's going to be the new price equilibrium over here, 30 euros. And indeed, we can see it's below what has been previously. And the quantity is 130 euros. So 130 euros over here, which is slightly more than before, more quantity than before. Now, how can we briefly interpret this? We had a tax effect, which would be to increase the price on the market, and we had a subsidy effect, which would be to decrease the price on the market. But the subsidy effect was 20 euros per unit, and the tax was only 5 euros per unit. So the subsidy effect dominated. That's why overall the final result on the market was to decrease the price and increase the quantity a bit. Hope this makes sense, and we are done.